All right, we are back with another episode of AEW Dynamite Review Show. I'm your Exec Consultant, joined by Sheriff and Dan the Man. And you must say, hey, EC, where's the energy? Well, I watched AEW Dynamite tonight. So let's go ahead and talk about AEW Dynamite and everything that happened. First segment of the night, as far as I remember, was actually it was a good two people to start the show. Jay White, Switchblade, as well as Pentagon. And of course, you had about as good a match as you expect these two to have. For me to say something, Pentagon's talent is wasted in All Elite Wrestling. That man should definitely go to WWE. But Jay White, who I was not sold on at first, is definitely impressing me each and every single week. Lady, gentlemen, your thoughts?
I'm already just laughing at your take. Penta is wasted in AEW. He's like one of their prime players. Him and Ray Phoenix, but okay. Yeah, I like the match. I like Switchblade, Jay White. You can't go wrong with this. This is a good opener. It was a little bit long, but you know.
It was long.
Yeah, it was long. Those two can go, so they made the most of it. The energy, where's the energy? The energy is that it's 10:34, which means technically this show is maybe at the very least 20 minutes late. So that's where that energy is going. It has nothing to do with this episode. The episode was strong. Dan, what say?
I like Penta. I do. I just don't think he's a strong worker. And in this specific match with Jay White, I felt like Penta was just simply there to look good and do the job. And it reminded me so much of what WWE used Dolph Ziggler for. This was the prime example of how they should not have used Penta. And it's disappointing that they threw Penta to the wolves like this.
Anyways,
but
Penta's a tag team guy. He can lose a singles match to a
he
guy.
He certainly became a tag team guy in AEW. This man was running shit in AAA and in Mexico. He is a top flight talent who should be in world title consideration and is not. He has not even held a singles title, and this man is a great singles competitor.
Even before AEW, Lucha Bros was tearing it up.
Okay. So
as a tag team.
Okay, they had a tag team, but he is still a singles competitor.
Of course. As is Ray Phoenix, right?
Me
personally, I see them. I think that's, at least on this stage, I think that's their echelon, is them as together as the Lucha Bros. Ray Phoenix did really well, especially in the beginning when they would put him in world title matches, but I didn't see him winning any of those.
Of course.
Or Penta neither. That's me personally.
Of course. But it's, to me, I look at the Hardys right now and I view them as a tag team more than I view
a legacy act. they would be hard pressed to be a tag team I guess competitor this stage, although I wouldn't put it past Tony Khan to put the belts on them, but I don't want to see that.
They're going to end up facing Edge.
Tony,
Adam
don't do it. Oh, Edge and Christian? Oh.
Adam Copeland.
Can we go back to this Pentagon thing? Because I can't believe I don't agree with Dan the Man, but I agree with Dan the Man. The reason why I say he's not being utilized properly in Elite Wrestling, I'm not saying his entire run in AEW has been bad. I think his run in AEW has been pretty good. I think him and Ray Phoenix are one of the greatest tag teams in the world. One of the reasons why I said the tag team division now is the best tag team division I've ever seen. But he's right. He's right. In AAA, in MLW, and Impact Wrestling, Pentagon was that dude. And even though he puts on good match after good match after good match on AEW, they still don't even let him really sniff a singles run. And it's not like he hasn't had opportunities. Yes, he and Ray Phoenix are a great tag team. But let's be real. Ray Phoenix gets injured more times than I'm not even going to make that joke. But he gets injured quite often, okay? Right now, I think, if I remember correctly, he's injured right now. So it's like, give this man a shot. And I think right now is the time and it's not even just me being, because I admit I'm a more of a WWE fan, but I think now with the big news coming out that Rey Mysterio
more of a WWE fan.
I'm more of a WWE fan. Yes,
more of a WWE mark.
No, WWE fan.
Mark.
Okay, so I think where right now Rey Mysterio has announced that he would like to wrap up his career sometime in the next year and a half, 2 years. And everybody knows they've been looking for that next Rey Mysterio, for lack of a better phrase. I think Pentagon has the better chance of being that than a lot of people WWE has right now, which is why I say I think now is a good time for him to shift over, because that man's very charismatic and very good in the ring. And that's what a lot of these other people in WWE who they would like to take Rey Mysterio's play has been lacking of. I think right now they have this kid at NXT, just went to SmackDown, I can't remember, Dragon Lee. He might be close, but I still think he'll fail. I just don't see it. So, but I think Pentagon could have it.
I just did a quick search, and Penta is 38. I'm just
AEW has a ton.
He's 38.
How old is Adam Copeland? No, listen carefully. How old is Santos Escobar?
Oh, that's a WWE guy, right?
Yes, Santos Escobar.
I don't watch the E, so I'm sorry. I don't know anything about that guy.
Okay, well, search him up. Do your Google search for Santos Escobar and tell me how old he is, because he's the guy that's in the LWO with Rey Mysterio.
39.
And Rey Mysterio's 48 himself. So
yeah, but Rey Mysterio was Rey Mysterio back in his heyday. He didn't become that at 38. Is what I was trying to say. Yeah, but that's fine.
When Rey Mysterio was 38, it was in
I think I cut you off.
But look at AEW right now. They have a lot of lucha talent that is similar to where Rey Mysterio was. If you look at like Commander,
nobody knows who he is.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Nobody knows who he is.
Viking El.
Can't say his name.
El Hijo Viking.
Can't say his name.
I can't.
That's my point.
He's still a talent.
You can be talented all you want. Are you selling tickets, which Dynamite needs right now? Are you selling tickets? Are you putting eyes on the product? El Hijo del whatever his name is. I can't pronounce his name.
Gravity. Gravity is great too. I think
these people are not putting eyes on the product. You need somebody that can do that. Pentagon, if you listen to his reaction when he came out, was a good reaction for these 3,000 people, right? It was a good reaction because he does know how to make people interested and draw people into this match. That's why I think now.
You don't think
and another reason why he's another reason why he's a WWE guy is because he has. You know what makes a lot of WWE guys popular? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They have catchphrases or music. That's true. Man got this. I'm telling you, he can do it. They will love this. They right now the most popular person in WWE, arguably, because you can make arguments for quite a few people.
On unpopular review.
That's fine. The most popular person in WWE right now, arguably, because I can make an argument with like 4 different people, is Jey Uso. Main event Jey Uso. Why? Because the song comes out and they just go like this and they love it. I'm telling you, that man could be a star if he comes to WWE.
It's true.
Okay.
If people are wrestling later and later.
A while on this. It's the first match.
Well, y'all take over. I told you I was falling.
So you're not gonna. Okay. So.
Was Renee Paquette was on next or something? If I remember correctly, she was
Renee Paquette and Adam Copeland. The interview.
Oh God!
I think wasn't the women's match before that.
There was a women's match. Oh yes, it was Hikaru Shida versus her mentor.
Emi Sakura.
Yeah, I like her.
Was this? I'm trying to remember. Was this for the title?
It was a title eliminator match.
Title eliminator. There we go.
What the hell? Oh
yeah. I mean, she was eliminated.
I have nothing to say about this match.
Why?
Because it was pointless.
No, don't do that.
They told a story in this match.
Emi Sakura is underrated. I really like her.
She is. I like her. I like her better than Shida. Why? Because her character is better than Shida. Shida does not have a good character. That's why she's not really over as much as they make her.
She's not over.
She is not as over as people are. If she went to, all right, let me explain. This is going to sound bad.
She was over at one point.
No, this is why it's going to sound bad, right? Gail Kim is a legend, right? Everybody knows that. Great wrestler, great talent. Gail Kim WWE didn't do crap. And it's not because they held her back. It's because she does not have the charisma to click with the
True.
casual wrestling fan. Hikaru Shida, great talent in the ring. Don't get me wrong, great talent. But the same situation. Whereas Sakamura, whatever her name is, I can't pronounce her name either.
See, look at that. Couldn't even say her name.
But I know her because she's one of the only people I remember from the boring ass AEW dark tapings that I used to go to because she was on every single one. But I always liked her character because she's entertaining. She has a character. I was happy to see her on Dynamite. I don't think she's ever going to go anywhere, but I was happy to see her on Dynamite because I do find her entertaining. So I was not as upset with this match because I got to see her. And I haven't seen her since I went to one of those AEW dark tapings. And let me tell you something. I never drank coffee in my life, but I almost did at an AEW dark taping.
To be up for a fellow Emi Sakura believer. I also like her. She's a bit of a dark horse. She's very entertaining, but we don't get to see her much into it. Yeah.
All right, next.
Pun intended. Oh yeah, the Renee and who is it? Oh, and
Adam Copeland.
This was a very good segment.
I'm about to flame Adam Copeland now, so I'm gonna let y'all go first.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I am.
Can you even take Adam Copeland seriously right now? I feel like he's always laughing and smiling, and I feel like this was the one promo that he's cut where it was a little more on the serious side. It wasn't bad. It was decent. But I need a little more from Adam Copeland right now. I was riding the wave of I'm so excited he's here, and now I'm like, what are we doing?
It's been less than a month, has not? But no, he did. This was a great segment. They told the story with Christian. He actually, I would say in this segment, they covered so much ground, like for the story, like all in one segment. Because he was like, we became friends in, school? We've been friends for 40 years. Whenever I would get hired at jobs, I'd be like, oh, you should, my friend, he's really, really good in the ring too. All throughout his career, like he explained that dynamic and how that breeds probably some kind of resentment from Christian, because it's like, why do I always have to be in your shadow? And it kind of, because although I don't think this is the case, maybe there are some fans who don't know the backstory between him and Christian. And so this covered a lot of ground, and it did so in a way that was entertaining, and it didn't feel like you were bogged down by a lot of information at once. And Renee is, she's very, very good at her job.
She's a master at what she does.
She's a good facilitator, yeah. So I thought that this was a really, really good segment. I would love to hear the exec flame it now.
All right, before I even go into my rant, let me tell you how I felt during the segment. Here's the first part.
Bitch, shut up before I kick you in the face again. Nobody gives a damn about that karate shit.
One of my favorite ever Jade Cargill promos, by the way.
That was one, because as he was talking, I was like, nobody cares, right? We all know the story of ENC or Adam Copeland and Jay. All right, we already know that. That was one. Here's the second part.
He was waiting for it to end.
Exactly. I wanted somebody to count down. And this is my problem I've had with Adam Copeland, even dating back to Edge in his last run, right? Because I said this before. I'm a big Edge fan. I've always been an Edge fan. I've always been an Edge fan. I think he's a tremendous person. I hated the fact he retired. I was excited when he came back. I think he has the coolest entrance, all that good stuff, right? When he came back, he was feeling himself like he was Dwayne Johnson. What I mean by that is his promos were always too freaking long, bro. I don't like long ass promos on a week-to-week basis. It's one of the problems I have with MJF now. You can have an occasional 10-minute promo and it'd be good, or a 15-minute promo and be good, but when you do it every single week, I'm getting tired because you're talking too much, right? And especially when he joined that Judgment Day, oh my God, every single day I have to hear his life story. Now I got to hear it in backstage with Renee Paquette. Did he even show up in front of the crowd tonight? Because that's the only reason they went from 3,700 to 4,500. So that would be disappointing if he didn't show up, because he said in his little media scrum that he's going to be there every single week because he's a full-time competitor. And just because he might have gotten into an argument with absolute Ricky Starks on Saturday where Ed showed his dick side, come on, man. You must
have hated the Reign of Terror.
He called him a vanilla midget.
They edited the vanilla part out, but yes, he did call him a vanilla midget. Do you think he was legitimately upset over that promo from Ricky Starks?
No.
No. I know that was a rumor, but no. That, and
No.
by the way, that's not uncommon in wrestling for things to like get said, and maybe you're like, oof, that one stung a little, but then you move on and work keeps happening and shit.
Of course.
Unless you're CM Punk, then you choke them out and you get fired. But other than that,
the rumor is with the CM Punk is that he did that on purpose because he wants to go back to the E. But I will.
And then E said, I hire it, bozo. All right, but keep going.
We'll see. I mean, you bring him back for a pop.
Yeah, we'll see.
No.
I don't think CM Junk is the way to go.
CM Junk. Hi there, guys. Hi, Hassan.
Oh, go ahead. What's next?
Oh, you were done? Oh.
Yeah, because he just bothers me, and I said it's just the same thing. Like when he left WWE, he's not putting anybody over. Who is he putting over since his second run?
He's putting people over.
Who?
He's putting people
Who?
over.
Christian.
His first run in WWE, arguably his first run in WWE, I'll say before his retirement and then came back, he was putting people over left and right. He's an 11-time world champion, but that means he had to lose it 11 times, right? His second run, he won all his feuds, every last one of them. It bothers me. It bothered me then. It bothers me now. Does he have to win every single one of his feuds? Did he have to beat Sheamus in his last match? What's up, Pops? Did he have to beat Sheamus in his last match? I don't think he had to beat Sheamus.
Why should he lose in his supposed last WWE match?
Most people know when you lose your last. When you have your last match, you should leave on your back. That's just how wrestlers are taught.
Yeah, but you don't need to lose to Sheamus. Sheamus isn't necessarily going to get boosted by a.
So who should he have lost to? Should he have lost to Finn Balor, except for he beat him in that feud?
He could lose to Braun Breaker. I don't know.
I agree with that.
But he lost to Grayson Waller. No, he didn't. He beat Grayson Waller.
Who? Anyways.
How do you know Commander but not Grayson Waller?
I never said I knew Commander.
Oh, good.
I would be lying if I said I know of Commander. That's not true. And I know of Grayson Waller, but that's the extent.
Well, Grayson Waller, let me tell you, is a future star. A future star is Grayson Waller.
I'm shedding this laptop right now and turning off this camera because
you believe that I can't pronounce the name Hero is a future star, but you won't tell me that you don't think Grayson Waller is a future star. Grayson Waller is a future star. That guy got it.
Hey, they said the same thing about Elias. Where's he now?
Oh wow! I just looked up Waller.
Elias was killed by the pandemic.
He doesn't look like your type.
What?
Oh, he searched up Grayson Waller because Grayson Waller's not huge. He's good. He has good mic skills, good presence, and good charisma. That's all you need.
I agree.
Go ahead. What's next?
Yeah.
And then he goes to AEW. The first thing he does is beat Luchasaurus. Like, come on, this guy does not know how to. His ego.
Luchasaurus should have won that, but I agree with that. It was a squash match.
He's going to beat everybody. He's going to beat everybody. He's probably going to lose to Christian the first time, and then he's going to beat him.
They might trade wins. That's true. They might trade wins.
He don't take enough L's. That's all I'm saying.
And this is one of the best Christian runs. It would be a shame for Adam to come in and beat him. Like wouldn't that be the antithesis of like what he was talking about in that promo?
If he loses to anybody clean like that, it would be Christian, but I just don't see it. He lost. He beat Seth Rollins.
Christian could get a good world title reign out of this run he's having if he stays
healthy.
If he stays healthy, yes.
That's what Christian needs to remember. Christian got injured a lot also. It ended a lot of stuff for him. He's a very good wrestler. Very good wrestler. Yes. Very underrated. But he does get injured a lot.
Wardlow squashed Ryan Nemeth. And then
here's where it gets really sucky.
Written on his tape.
Here's where it gets really sucky. He comes out and then Dirk Ziggler, he attacks him, but gets immediately put in a last ride power bomb, and all of a sudden now the referee stops the match. That's all it takes is one power bomb. The guy must have asked for his release or something, and Tony's saying, "No, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I do like Wardlow. I'm glad to see him getting back to where he needs to be, but at the same time, I'm trying to figure out Well, now you're going after MJF too after you said, I don't want the world championship. And I guess now they turned him heel because he bulldozed Tony Schiavone, which is not hard to do. You can blow Tony Schiavone, he'll go down. But and then you go after the most over guy in AEW, arguably the most over guy in AEW. What's going on with Wardlow? Are we a fan of this? Are they trying to keep him because they want him to go because they don't want him to jump ship because there's rumors that he was jumping ship also?
Well, really, this is something they were doing throughout the show. This is why I also say it's a strong show because I like this style of booking. Unless you're actively in like a blood feud, you should be talking about or thinking about the world title / the world champion. If not the mid-card championship, but mainly the world championship.
He should go after the AEW World Championship.
We saw that a lot on this show where unless it was somebody in a blood feud, they were like, no, I want MJF. I want the world title. That's what you should be after.
Apologize. He should go after the Ring of Honor World Championship.
He should go after Samoa Joe? I mean, not Samoa Joe. That's a television champion, but
right. Eddie Kingston is the Ring of Honor World Champion. So already that title lost any kind of prestige that it had, which didn't have much to begin with, right? Already people are wiping their ass with that championship. Mm-hmm. And Wardlow winning it, I think, will be a good boost for it. I don't think you put him anywhere near MJF right now.
Not right now.
I was gonna agree with you, and then you bashed Eddie. I was gonna say I think that would be a good feud. Him and
Eddie Kingston and Golden Corral is a good feud, but Eddie Kingston versus anybody else is not a good feud. Eddie Kingston is he is honestly one of the worst champions I've ever seen, worst wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, he's decent on the mic because he's believable because when he's talking, I guess he had a rough life or something, but realistically speaking, he is not good in the ring. He's not it. He's lazy.
There's a lot of like world champions who haven't been good in the ring.
Who is your wrestler of the year so far, Sheriff? Let me tell you why you're wrong once you tell me.
I have a 1A and a 1B.
All right, go ahead and cheat.
I'm gonna start with my 1B. I was gonna say Orange Cassidy. I feel like he's been the most consistent.
And your 1A?
You're not gonna agree with me.
I mean, I already would know that, but go ahead, mention your 1A.
MJF.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Are you kidding? This is his era right now.
The wrestler of the year, and except for I can make an argument for Orange Cassidy because if I were going to do 1A, 1B, Orange Cassidy is going to be my 1B also. But it's very hard for me to put somebody over this man.
Roman Reigns, we know.
Actually, no. For the first time in 3 years, it's not Roman Reigns.
I was about to say that man barely wrestled, but
who?
Cody Rhodes.
Absolutely not. I'll pick MJF before Cody Rhodes. Gunther deserves that number one spot for wrestler of the year. That man has put in, no offense to Sheamus, who's done a great job himself, but banger after banger after banger after banger. You cannot go wrong with one Gunther. That is, without a doubt, in my opinion, close to runner-up, Orange Cassidy is the wrestler of the year.
Who do you think has been more impactful, MJF or Gunther?
MJF.
Gunther. And let me tell you why. I can see why you would say MJF, but here's where I start to say no for MJF. Because outside of All In, his championship run, which has been almost a year, he's been almost the longest running champion of all time. I think that was the 13 days reference. He made a Kenny Omega soon. But outside of that, he has not really been in the main event picture, yet he's the world champion. And that is a problem. If he was, then I would say I agree with you over Gunther. I would, as far as who's been more impactful. But because it's been second fiddle until actually about 2 weeks ago, except for the Adam Cole thing, he hasn't been really the main event level like that. He's been second fiddle.
That's been a common criticism of his. Even though it's fair to say, even though I don't necessarily agree with it, I kind of like it when you have your major player who is MJF, and you can, I guess, plug and play him kind of anywhere. It's similar to, but you really don't, as a utility, you really don't want to do that with your world champion. Usually just because you don't want them to get hurt. You don't want to devalue them, stuff like that. You usually use somebody like Orange Cassidy to do that.
Before, I mean, you had Bryan Danielson and you had Adam Cole, but between that, I can't tell you how many people he really wrestled for that world championship. I'm not saying he hasn't. He has definitely wrestled people for that world championship, but they really weren't memorable feuds, and they really weren't memorable. I mean, they were decent matches. Don't get me wrong. He never had a bad match this year, but it just wasn't as impactful as it should have been. For like even Seth Rollins, I think he's taken a backseat to the Judgment Day, in my opinion, on Monday Night Raw. but he still also puts on very, very good matches, and he's also been been level on pay-per-views, just not the actual show. But yes, I am coming next week. I'll be there next Friday, but next Saturday is the actual karaoke, if that's what you're asking about, which I'm sure you are.
Yeah, that's fair. And Wardlow has actually beat him before.
Wardlow has beaten him.
A lot of guys who are in the main event scene. So in his run, he's like, put me there. You know,
I think he's taken so much damage that you should build him back up the way they've been doing it. It's only been a few weeks, but keep building him. And unfortunately, I think they're going to. It's stupid to have him and Lance Archer do something similar right now, but we'll talk about that later. But he could bulldoze through a lot of people until he builds up to MJF, because he can actually change that championship from MJF. I don't know. I still think it's going to be Adam Cole, baby. What's up, Pops? I still think it's going to be Adam Cole, baby, but we'll see.
And then after that, was it? Hold on, let me look at it. Oh, it's Kenny Omega. Oh yeah. Kenny and MJF had a face-off. They're teasing a feud between them, which is a long time coming. There's a lot of people who in AEW who, like, years ago, you're thinking, oh, MJF, when he's there, this is going to be the dream feuds. This is going to be for the long run. These are your feuds. And they stacked them up. They were patient. And now they have a lot of people they can run through. And I think we're in the final stretch of his run. And they haven't really capitalized on a lot of them like I thought they would. So they're just, packing them on at the end. We had him and Joe. We had him and, or we're going to have him and Adam Cole, even though they had that match. We're going to have him and Kenny Omega. We didn't get the Punk feud, LOL, but, I think they're just...
It is a good job that they're doing by teasing all these feuds possibly for MJF, who's still a loner. So I'll give you that. That's actually very, very good, because I forget that Joe has also still made it very clear he's coming after that championship. And he's somebody... Even though he's not my top three, but he's somebody I can also make an argument for Wrestler of the Year too, which is amazing, because I thought his career was over. He's been doing a fantastic
they got a lot of people talking about, I want that.
Hi, Chief.
It's a very old school level of way of booking, and I kind of like it. And so and circling back to Wardlow is also smart. There's a built-in story there too. So they're lining them up towards the end. So.
All right, kitchen utensil. What you got to say?
I'm just taking
what is that?
I see.
Taking
his
it
father
all.
looks like he's washing dishes back there.
I don't know what he's doing back here. He's being rude. Hey, but so what we got going on right here?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm listening too. Continue us on with the kitchen utensils. So what we got here is you're wrong.
The kitchen utensils got him so shook. We'll come back. Hopefully by then his father will finish.
That's my favorite take.
Sheriff, go ahead. What was next?
Oh, is it on me? What was next? Oh, we had the segment with Adam Cole, Roderick Strong.
I don't want to talk about that.
Fantastic.
That was a terrible segment. That
Great
was a terrible
segment.
That sandwich making was very, very erotic.
I don't think the peanut butter to jelly ratio was there.
It didn't slap, yeah.
It didn't.
I did like the rendition of Headstrong by Trapped.
It was on fire. It was on fire.
He's always right. You're always wrong when you say he's always right.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
I agree. That segment was disappointing, Dan. I agree with you.
Fantastic segment.
What was next?
Really? That was like one of the... Okay. It was Kenny Omega versus Kyle Fletcher.
It was a great match.
It was a long match.
I thought so.
It was a great match.
So the beginning of it was Tony Schiavone overdoing how much he hates Don Callis, because they want Don Callis to be the biggest heel in wrestling right now, and he's not. He's close.
No. Don Callis gets heat. I've seen it live.
He's top 5, maybe top 3, but realistically speaking, Dom is number 1. Dirty Dom is number 1.
Dominic Mysterio?
Dirty Dom is number one, and I'm not even just saying that
That's
because
fair.
but Dirty Dom, you said
He's on a good run.
You seen Don Callis live, and I've heard Don Callis live and stuff like that. But when I went to NXT last week, let me tell you something. They didn't even lower his mic, and I could not understand a word he was saying. I could not hear him. They made a game of how loud they can boo to try to make sure.
They definitely lowered Dom's mic though.
They have, but they didn't lower last Tuesday.
I'm gonna say this though. In the NXT, like, what would you call it? Venue compared to the venue where I saw Don Callis.
Well, you saw him at the Arthur Ashe, right?
At Arthur Ashe, yeah.
People, right.
That was 10K people. They were booing him out though, and that was on a Rampage. TV.
Yeah, but also look at a SmackDown like last week, right before Nick Aldis came out. Like it's just Nick Aldis. They not.
On a good run. I'm not trying to say. Yeah, he's. Actually, I always felt like he was underrated because people were kind of hating.
Oh yeah, he was underrated.
Like give him time.
I liked him before he even turned heel. I thought he was actually pretty good, and people were giving him more flack than he deserved. But it's amazing how much. And this is a credit to Edge. He started the Judgment Day, and the people that went to the Judgment Day has definitely went into another level since joining up with Edge. Even though the last match he had with all those people except for Dominic Mysterio, except for Rhea Ripley, he beat. Because that's what Edge does. That's
wow.
Oh, and Kenny Omega won this match, obviously.
Just saying, he beat Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio because that's.
And he should.
Okay, 48 years old, end of his career.
He should because the Judgment Day is whack.
Judgment Day is the best faction in wrestling today. I don't know why you.
I don't. Yeah, no. I think Judgment Day is pretty good.
They're the best faction in wrestling.
I think they're pretty whack. I do.
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Your favorite wrestler is Cody Rhodes, so it's fine.
Cody Rhodes is great. Anyways,
he's respectable.
He's gonna beat Roman.
We'll see.
If WWE is smart. Anyways.
WWE is smart. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. How they're not smart? Like, come on, let's go.
Oh, geez, here we
Sell out arena after arena, each and every single.
The meat riding right now.
It's the truth. She said, "If WWE is smart," I'm trying to say, how could you say here and say WWE is not smart when they sell out arena and stadium after arena and stadium?
Listen, WWE does some things correctly. They have a fantastic marketing team.
They have a great world champion.
I have
an absentee world champion.
They have an absentee world champion.
Christian would never be an absentee.
Christian's not a world champion.
I was making the joke about the father. He's not. I'm saying Christian would never.
And Christian's a great father.
Christian is
he
there.
Would never be absent like this. Anyways, it was pretty much a squash match. Barrett Brown versus Lance Archer. When he brought out, because he was whooping his ass, he brought him out whooping his ass. He looked like, to me, I thought he was one of the Young Bucks.
I did too.
I said, why is he, bro? What did Matt do? Like, what is going on here? But they were like, oh, Barrett Brown. I was like, oh, it's an enhancement talent.
Yeah. Well, what is with AEW where they have this thing where they have to have action going on while the music still plays? Well, it's kind of cool. It seems very amateur hour too. I will say that.
I thought it was funny, the Dapper Yapper, Justin Roberts, the way he was announcing them coming to the ring. He said kicking this guy to the ring is Lance Archer. I was like, okay, that's cute. He was a Lance, and then something happened. It was very noticeable that the mistake they made when he was supposed to do a suicide dive. He got caught the first time, he messed up, so he had to do it again. Right. I think they should have emphasized a little better with that. But it was a squash match, and I felt like that was stupid to have. So shortly after the Wardlow squash match.
Yeah.
Deja vu.
So I see what they're doing. I see why they have to do it if they want to keep Lance Archer, who's also up there in the years, let's be real. But it was practically almost the exact same thing you did with Wardlow. Maybe have Lance do that on Collision, because Collision, even though they stopped the soft split they had, there's still a little bit of a split. So it probably would have worked better for that.
Yeah. I mean, what do we have on Collision right now? Miro's
usually still on Collision. Samoa Joe is still usually on Collision. Ricky Starks is still usually on Collision.
FTR seems to seemingly be predominantly on Collision.
On Collision, right.
Charmaine says, I hear rumors that Bryan Danielson's wife is coming to AEW.
She made an announcement that she wants to come back to wrestling. If she comes back to wrestling, she's not going back to WWE. She left WWE. She's going to join her husband, and that makes sense.
Correct.
I think they need a shot in the arm. until Sasha Banks gets healed enough. Where I saw a video of her over the weekend when she was acting like an ass.
She was.
She was acting like an ass.
Would it be her and her sister?
No, Nikki, I think is really retired. I don't think she can wrestle anymore. But Bree is most likely going to come, and I think that will be good for AEW and AEW Women's Division, where it's right now, in my opinion, only has one interesting character main event wise, and that's Timeless Tony Storm. And so another stupid segment I want to talk about that was yet enthralling to me. I hated it and loved it at the same time.
Britt Baker is still a main event.
Britt Baker is still a main event, but she's taking such a hit, and it's going to take a minute to recover off of it. And I see why she did it, because she can't always be number one. It's kind of like
I was going to say, I see why, but I didn't.
Kind of like the man, Becky Lynch, but she
hurt her, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and I think it was that way towards their end in WWE. I think Nikki couldn't wrestle, but Brie could. Brie's last match was with Stephanie. Is that?
I think she's had it. Well, technically, her last match is probably at a Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm not a Bella Twins hater. I think that they're good sports entertainers. And they did slowly but surely get, I guess, viable in the ring, especially Nikki. But I don't know if they would resonate with the AEW's audience.
Brie used to be extremely popular, mainly because she was Bryan Danielson's wife. But she lost a lot of her popularity, which I thought was overdone. As far as fans are fickle and they hate. But Brie Bella had a spot where she accidentally kicked Liv Morgan in the face, causing a concussion, and a lot of fans never really forgave her for that. And even though a lot of wrestlers have mistakes, it happens all the damn time. Talking to you, Ray Phoenix, they really, really crucified her on air. As a matter of fact, some people can't get over it. Like Nia Jax is still hated very much because of what she did to what's her face, the man Becky Lynch. So
it's true. Yeah. Some fans just like to pick bones. There was a very brief time, way back in the day, where the Bella Twins did leave WWE and they were doing the indie thing. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but it didn't last very long. But they're not afraid to do stuff outside the E if that's.
Well, they were very critical of the E when they left this last time, which is why they changed their name off of Bella.
Right.
So yeah,
the Garcias. That is their name.
That's their legit shoot name.
Right.
But they always still went with Bella. Well, a lot of wrestlers do because that's what people recognize them.
And their show was called Total Bella. So
right.
So it was a major decision for them to do, but they have enough ventures outside of television. I think Nikki owns a winery and stuff like that where they can do it. But I know that was a major decision for them. But kudos to them. They're just standing up for what they believe in. They will be back in WWE sooner or later, and that's because they're going to do what everybody does, and that's accept the Hall of Fame ring.
So what we had next was an episode of Dr. Phil. So we had JR, Jim Ross,
this was stupid,
sit down with Nick Wayne and his mom to figure out what is this teenage rebellion. What is this teenage rebellion you're doing against your friend? And so he's got a new father figure in his life. You know him. He's Christian Cage, the non-absentee. He would never.
Does your mother look at you and refer to you as, well, I mean, would your mother ever look at you and refer to you as son? I don't understand why.
I think they were trying to keep reminding the audience. It's like, you didn't need to hold my hand. I know it's the mom. You said it.
Right.
I think they were trying to hammer it home. So the audience is like, oh, this is his mom. Is that his shoot mom, by the way?
That is his mom.
Okay. I said shoot mom, real mom, but whatever.
Yeah.
I see what they're, you know what? It was a little bit odd because I don't typically see, because he is actually a teenager. He is actually a teenager, right? Nick Wayne?
He's 18.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's an interesting angle to play into. You have someone who's a father figure, that's his character right now, and then you bring in his actual mom to give him sort of an intervention in a way. I can see why someone would be like, this is a little bit childish, I don't want to see, but I could see someone getting into the storyline. I don't know if I'm sold yet, but I'm keeping an open mind.
I'm not that enthralled by Nick Wayne. I'm not that enthralled by Darby Allin. I think those are two characters that are just there. They're
I
just
like
there.
Darby Allin. I'm a fan of Darby Allin. I was not a fan of this segment. Jim Ross also put me to sleep because he looked like he wanted to go to sleep. Hey, that's your mother. It was just a bad segment, and I was so happy to see Christian save it. Came in and was like, yeah, I'm your daddy now. So it was a good segment when Christian came in, and he gave the Saw slam, like game over, and slammed the door. I'm like, okay, all right, that saved the segment for me. Then they ruined it again by having Darby Allin come out of nowhere and attack him. I'm like, well, you ended it well, and then you kept on doing the crap.
Fatherless behavior from Darby Allin.
This is just the holdover feud for Darby until he fights Sting at Revolution.
In his last match, yeah. I mean, because Sting, we just glossed over Sting, huh? What a career. And his last match was what happened at AEW Revolution in 2024 in Wisconsin. It's amazing.
It is not in Wisconsin. You need to stop that. Is it in Wisconsin? Is it really in Wisconsin? No,
doesn't matter where it's going to be. Nobody's going to see it.
It is not in Wisconsin.
No, they don't.
They do not.
The only company that has women tag team championships are Impact Wrestling
and WWE.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Do they?
They do, yeah.
Do they? I didn't know.
Literally, Sasha Banks and what's her face? Oh, Naomi. They walked out because they were like, "You don't care about our titles," which is a fact. You didn't know that they existed. Yeah,
so they don't exist.
It's a prop. It is a prop that they were putting on Chelsea Green and who's the other one?
Piper Niven. And here's a fun fact. Piper Niven. And here's a fun fact. They have not defended those championships since they won them. It's been almost 100 days.
Well, they didn't win them. They were gifted them. But yes.
Well, Chelsea.
Out. So, needless to say, Sasha Banks is proven right once again. Trinity's
here's what Sasha Banks was proven wrong. And I meant to get the video, and I couldn't do it because of AEW's.
Here we go.
This woman, and I'm a huge Sasha Banks fan. She was my favorite four horsewoman.
Cop your please. Cop your please.
She was out of line this past weekend at Comic-Con. She was completely out of line.
Absolutely.
What happened?
You didn't see the video?
No.
All right, well,
she snapped at a fan.
I'm gonna school you. I'm gonna school you.
Play the video.
I know that you had left WWE because of the creative issues. So
is that the reason?
That's what I read.
Oh, that's what you read. You weren't there. So no.
So what's the real reason?
Why would I tell you? Why would I just tell you?
I want to know.
You ain't gonna see my interview. You ain't gonna read my book. Right. You ain't gonna see me in the picture.
I do all of that. Yeah.
All right, then just wait. Our next friend, but you are. Then you just wait.
I got you.
Okay, cool. Thank you, JJ. Appreciate you. Keep on reading your fiction book. Okay.
Okay. Wait, does it keep going?
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Okay, listen. Number one, she did a lot. She ain't have to do all that. Number two, did she lie? No, that's all I'm gonna say.
She didn't, but if somebody, and I understand that those, God, she's making money. Those autograph signings that she did was $200 a pop, right? When you're making $200 an autograph signing, and I guarantee her shit was out the door at New York Comic Con. I guarantee it. She could be a little bit. There was better ways. You said it yourself, Sherry. You said she did too much.
She could have been more gracious.
She could have been like, "Oh no, you're gonna have to wait for my book. You're gonna have to wait for an interview or something like that." She didn't say, "Haha, why would I tell you?" Like you belittling the man. He wasn't rude. He said, "Great job in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
This is why you left WWE, right?" And she just said, "No, did I like?" I didn't
what
think that
he didn't warrant all of that. Like that, I feel like that wasn't what his question wasn't that. Actually, who did a really good job addressing something like that. There's a clip of AJ Styles with a fan, and one of the fans was like, she asked him, "Do you miss the Young Bucks?" And he was like, "Yeah, I miss a lot of my friends, yes." And she was like, "They need a partner this Wednesday," because they were doing the mystery partner like storyline. And he's like, "Oh, okay." He said, "Why don't you show up?" And he's like, "Why don't they come to WWE?" But he said it in a joking. He cut to the chase because that's what she was really going for. But he did it in a way that was funny and in jest. He could have easily been like, this is a WWE signing. Don't come at me with that shit. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Like, he could have popped off, but he didn't need to do that. She could have said what she had to say in a way that was a little more gracious. I don't disagree with what she said. I do disagree with the way she said it.
I don't think it was necessary. I don't think he was that rude where he deserved all of that.
Yeah,
and
it was extra.
But from what I can tell of Sasha, because of course I don't know her personally, I'll tell you, like, there's an incident. When I went to WrestleMania 38 in Dallas, Bayley was still out, and we saw her randomly downtown and buying stuff. And when one of my friends said, "Hey, are you going to be at WrestleMania tomorrow? Are you going to show up?" She said, "If I was, I wouldn't tell you." Fine, cool, fair enough. That was a gracious answer. And when there was no camera, right? Sasha did all of that, but I've always said I've never agreed with her leaving WWE in the first place. I thought it was a selfish reason for her to leave. I've seen her interviews, and I mentioned it a lot on the show, where she always goes around saying that she feels like she was as big a star as Roman and Vince McMahon, and I look at her like she's stupid, right? I'm glad she has that much confidence in herself, but that ego, my God, this is coming from me.
Is Sasha is she a heel in New Japan?
Yes, she is. She plays a heel. Not well, but she plays a heel.
That might change the way I view that.
No, that right
I've
there.
seen MJF do way worse.
But you know MJF is in character.
But that's what I'm saying. How do I know that? Or how do we know that? What is her character in New Japan? She's just her.
She's Mercedes, and that's sad because I didn't call her.
She's Mercedes Renato.
I didn't call her Mercedes this whole this thing. I've been calling her Sasha because that's what people know with Sasha. She hasn't gone over well enough to be Mercedes one. Like, if you paid attention, I call Daniel Bryan all the time, but this whole night I call Bryan Danielson. Right? It's tough for me. John Moxley's Dean Ambrose to me. It's tough for me, but
I still say John Moxley. I haven't said Dean Ambrose in a very long time.
It's easier for me to say John Moxley than it is for me to say Bryan Danielson. I'll say that. I still want to say Daniel Bryan.
It's a bit tongue twistery, but
Daniel Bryan.
I don't think Mercedes Sasha. I don't think that was selfish. Only reason is that in wrestling, your career at the end of the day, the way wrestling works, you kind of put your career, your likeness, your life, your profession in the hands of other people, and you really only have a small window in one shot, and sometimes it can be messed up so bad that you never get another shot. So I think it's fair for wrestlers to be a bit protective about how they're booked and stuff like that, and storylines. Of course, it's always good to be a professional and go along with stuff like that. But if you're Sasha, you have real aspirations, and you think you're as big as Roman, or you're trying to be as big as Roman, you gotta do what you gotta do, because it's one life, one shot to get where you gotta go. And if WWE ain't doing it, they stuck these titles on you and put you in a corner. Peace. I'm not sitting around for that. That's just me.
You tell him, Eminem. What was the next thing that happened on AEW?
We had the Dynamite Battle Royal.
Yeah. It's the main event.
So this is actually one of my favorite parts of the show.
It was Dynamite.
Hey. Well done.
I used to hate one. Remember we just talking about names? This guy was always called his name in NXT to me. And I'm talking about one, Rock Hard Juice Robinson. Today, he's earned his name of Juice Robinson to the point I don't even remember his NXT name. He's done that good of a job. Granted, I was rooting for Max Caster, who has this weird crush on MJF. And I don't understand why, because he's not gay. So I'm trying to understand why he has this weird crush.
They have a it's a backstory. They've been friends for a while. That's been their dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, but the ring on it and all this other stuff. Whatever.
It's over the top, but it's funny.
It's funny. That's what I said. I wanted him to win because I wanted to see it. But
the Acclaimed, their whole thing is very like.
It is, but I've always thought that was more to appease. God, I forgot his name.
Anthony Bowens.
Thank you. God, I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. Anthony Bowens, because Anthony Bowens, as we know, is openly gay. But and Billy Gunn has always been
always been like, that too.
Always been like wearing pink tights and his hands, like whatever. But you know it's going to lead to the Bullet Club Gold versus the Acclaimed MJF. Because I don't know how long Adam Cole's out. Now, there's some saying that his injuries at work. There's some saying his injuries a shoot. I think he's another injury-prone guy. His injuries a shoot. I really do. I like the segment. I'm fine with Juice Robinson winning. I'm fine with MJF and him going at it for the ring. And this has been, outside of Adam Cole feud, one of the most interesting MJF feuds he's had since he's been world champion, in my opinion. And I'm looking forward to it. This is why Jay Weissman made a fan of me. We didn't talk about Timeless Tony Storm either. Did you not see her movie, her silent movie?
Well, that was during.
We started to talk about it.
I loved it and hated it.
Wait, how are we jumping around?
That was during picture-in-picture, right?
It was purposely done during picture-in-picture, and normally I will fast forward through that, and I did not fast forward through any of it. And it was the dialogue and the acting was so freaking stupid, but I could not turn it off. Right, I agree with that sound. I could not turn it off. Loved it. Much better than some peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So, that's something clever that they've been doing with the picture-in-picture. Even though she's probably one of, like you said, their hottest acts in the company, especially for the women. So her being on picture-in-picture, it's like, but it was really, really clever and a good way to keep people watching. They did that last week, Tuesday, when they were head-to-head with NXT as well. And I thought that was a good way to keep the audience from migrating.
Yeah, well, just the audience that weren't already watching NXT because nobody was watching.
Don't say that.
Just saying. Hey, I am an AEW fan. I keep saying it. I defended AEW last week. I said they won over NXT, in my opinion.
In terms of show quality, but I didn't watch it.
No. Let's not go overboard. Now, in terms of show quality, in terms of the fact that NXT had all those stars on it and still could not break 1 million because the AEW Dynamite was on it.
So you agree with Tony Khan?
No. I can't agree with Tony Khan.
He did say that. No, he said, "Dang, bro."
Remember how he said Sasha went extra?
Bro.
Remember how you said Sasha? We said Sasha Banks went extra. He went extra. He didn't have to mention John, this is the first time in years that John Cena, Undertaker have been on the show and then crack him. He didn't have to say all that. He could just say, hey, you know what? WWE couldn't crack 1 million even though they had all these stars on. He personally called out John Cena, Undertaker. That was stupid. That was going
called asshole. He called Triple H and Shawn. Tony ain't have to do all that. I agree. I think Tony needs to hire a social media team and call it a day. Sorry, Tony.
You know who I don't like? Yeah, we're gonna jump back in that Danny man. I don't like Daniel Garcia. Not a fan.
No, stop.
Not a fan.
Daniel Garcia.
I'm not a fan of him and that dumbass dance. Hate it. You're not sure why. Yeah, go ahead. Be just as bad as Tony Khan was when he was doing it. Tony Khan's gonna have no kids. He pumps like that. It's bad. And you know what else is bad? Speaking of the same match, let's talk about Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy went on an interview a couple weeks ago saying, you know what, WWE, you disrespect me. I feel like I have one more world title run. Did you see that match today? Did you watch that match back, Jeff Hardy? You ain't got no more world title run in you. You ain't got it in you, bro.
Jeff was delusional, yeah. First of all, even if you did, I wouldn't trust you enough to give it to you. That's if I was running the company. I went to an office in Wall Street last week, and I had on an AEW sweater. And the security guard at the desk of the office was like, "Oh, AEW, you watch?" I was like, "Yeah, do you?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "Who's your favorite?" He said, "The Lucha Bros, mainly Penta." I meant to bring that up when we were talking about Penta earlier.
I can't believe you didn't mention that you actually found somebody else that watched AEW randomly in the street. That's amazing. But
when I wear merch, a lot of people are just like, "Oh, you're one of us," and then they. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Cult followings have that, you know? Yeah.
Wrestling in general is a cult.
Delusional people.
I hope you know.
Delusional people. But also, Goldust was in this match doing Canadian Destroyers north of 50. And, it was good to see him. Good to see Jeff Hardy. Good to see Jack Swagger.
Saying Goldust, saying Jack Swagger, it's Dustin Rhodes. It's Jake Hager.
Let me ask you a question. Realistically speaking, you go to the average person and you ask them, do they know Goldust or Dustin Rhodes? Who do you think they're going to say?
They're not going to say Jack Swagger. So I want to get that
Jack
out.
Swagger over Jake Hager. I guarantee that.
I even forget that he was even named that, and that's a horrible name. But they
You
will
know why?
probably
Because Jack
say
Swagger was always horrible.
they will probably say Goldust. I'll give you that. But Goldust in general was such a memorable character in wrestling.
He was the start of the Attitude Era, in my opinion.
Yeah. You don't think DX?
He was the start. All that crap he did back in 1996 was the start of the Attitude Era.
That's a take. I can see that. That gimmick, not only for WWE to do, for him to take up, was a really big risk. Was a really big risk. Sup, Mom? Oh, is that Christian in the background? No, I'm kidding.
Christian's in the background?
From New Father figure?
That's what happened then. That's why there's no more pots banging in the back.
He got it together, yeah. He said no more pots in here.
That's my take on AEW Dynamite tonight. Dan the Man, we'll start with you and your final thoughts.
It was an adequate show. I've seen better. I've seen worse. It's delivering. I think right now they're trying to make it through Full Gear. It's a struggle. They have a lot of time between now and then. They've announced the main event for the first time in a long time, like almost 2 months in advance, which is out of character for AEW. They're doing a long-term storytelling right now. I like the direction it's going. I hope they can build on that. And I hope they have a sellout at Full Gear.
We missed.
Oh no, they're the
the
Kia Forum, aren't they? Kia Forum,
Yes.
I think, can hold like 13,000. They're not doing that.
That is what the old Staples Center.
Yeah, dumb
They
move.
can do that. We missed a really big segment. Sting announced he's retiring. And
We talked about that. What do you mean?
I didn't hear that. Wait, when do we see
We talked briefly about it, but I want to ask this question. Sting retiring, and Dan the Man said it's going to be against Darby Allin at Revolution in Wisconsin. And
we meshed that with the. Oh yeah, I remember.
yeah, my question to you all is: when he faces Darby Allin at Full Gear in Wisconsin,
Darby Allin's going to win.
Darby Allin's going to win. Now, let me ask you a question.
I don't want to hear
How is that
Copeland.
better? How is that not as good or better or worse than Edge not putting a damn person over in any of his matches?
Not even the same, because Adam Copeland has a lot left in his tank. Sting is what, 60? That's not the same. Adam Copeland very much like he was resuming his career that got stunted by injury. He wasn't on a retirement tour, so to speak.
If he lost to Sheamus, would that have hurt his career?
No. If Sheamus beat him, would that have helped Sheamus's career?
No.
I think so, yes.
No.
Sheamus is a Hall of Famer regardless, so don't get me wrong. I agree with
on his way to AEW.
But who beat Ric Flair in Ric Flair's last match?
Well, Shawn Michaels, if you're talking storyline.
Who beat Shawn Michaels in Shawn Michaels' last match?
Did they lose that match at Crown Jewel? I don't remember.
No, that don't count. I was talking about The Undertaker. You already have some people who are established stars who beat people. But when you leave, you should go on your back because you should be putting over another person. Edge, and I'm not saying, because I'll tell you what, Edge had a similar thing that Shawn Michaels had. Shawn Michaels came back, was injured, came back, had another 8 years in him. But in those 8 years, he won the World Championship once, and that was his first time he came back. He never won the World Championship again. Neither did Edge did. Never won the World Championship again, and he was putting people over. He lost a lot of matches because he was trying to elevate. You know who else did it? The Undertaker did it, putting a lot of people over because he was trying to elevate talent. You know who didn't do it? Edge.
Okay. I agree that you're supposed to go out on your back. I agree with that. I just think that it's a little bit different because, again, Edge wasn't on a retirement tour. When he retired the first time, it's like saying Bryan Danielson did.
Rey Mysterio puts people over. He's the same age. AJ Styles puts people over. He's the same age.
But yeah, of course, because he's not thinking that he's going to be continuing his career. Like Edge is resuming the career that he never really wanted to. It'd be like Bryan Danielson being like, "Oh,
who also puts over people."
Yeah, of course. But it's like saying he didn't go out on his back when he only retired because of injury. It's not like he went on a retirement tour, which he is on now. He said he's on a retirement tour,
and he's been putting people over. He put over Ricky Starks. He put over MJF. He's been putting over people left and right. Has Daniel Bryan. I'm telling you, if you pay attention, I am absolutely right. I know it doesn't sound good because everybody loves Edge. I love Edge too, but I'm just being real. The man does not put people over.
I think Edge has a big ego. I don't disagree with that. I knew that when he fucked Matt's girl. I'm like, yeah, you better be some kind of guy.
Watching AEW, Daniel?
You better be some kind of guy to do that.
He is the man. He is the man.
All right. That's it for us here at AEW Dynamite UPR edition. Join us possibly next week. Yeah. For another episode. And watch Collision this coming Saturday. Still the best show.
Collision. That is the best
in AEW to me. So
and now we got NWA Power going to be on the CW.
After we canceled Impact, right? Like it's too much wrestling. Not enough hosts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching us. For Dan the Man, for Sheriff, I'm the Exec Consultant. We'll see you right here next time. Cough. Unpopular review.